universities in the state to organize virtual
Yeah. Welcome
debate
back,
watches.
everyone. Welcome to the stream.
Now,
It's your
as
boy
these
Hannah, Guns,
debates have
Games, and
become
Gadgets
near, they
channel.
can be even more
Let me pause this. Get my introduction going on. And today we're going to be watching the vice presidential. So, just like in the last debate. So, let's see how it's going to be. I can guarantee you that it's going to be toxic as well. So, it doesn't start until 9. I'm a bit early. I'm about 12 minutes early. So, let's just hear what I gotta say, these dudes gotta say, and let's get to this debate. Comments can be, you guys can say whatever y'all want, just don't be toxic, don't troll. Trolls will be kicked. I will be commentating on some of the debate. So if you guys don't like it, this isn't the right channel to be at. There's other channels to go to, but I'm pretty sure most of the channels are commentating. So and I will be doing the same. So let's get to it, guys.
consequential overseas, where the commission in partner. Now, it is my distinct honor to introduce Dr. Ruth Watkins, the president of the University of Utah. Thank you very much.
Oh wait, no, that's Dead Shine. How about me? Okay.
Good evening. I'm Ruth Watkins, President of the University of Utah. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to Utah's flagship university. Sincere thanks to the Commission on Presidential Debates for selecting the U to host the nation's only 2020 vice presidential debate. This is the first time that Utah has been the site of an election debate, and we are thrilled that so many will get to know our state and our university through this occasion. Salt Lake City, Utah's capital, is a thriving hub of industry and innovation. Our great state has spectacular outdoor vistas and recreation, a strong economy, a can-do entrepreneurial ethos, and is known for collegiality and collaborative spirit. This vitality is why the University of Utah is on the rise, now recognized as one of America's leading research universities, a member of the prestigious Association of American Universities. Our beautiful campus home is home to outstanding academic programs, including University of Utah Health. University Hospital has been consistently recognized as a top 10 facility for excellence in patient care. And our Huntsman Cancer Institute is a comprehensive cancer center, the highest federal ranking for a cancer research organization. Providing value, high-quality education and healthcare at affordable cost is a defining tenet of our university. Our faculty and our staff are achieving national recognition and support at unprecedented levels. Among them, evolutionary geneticist Nels Eldey, just yesterday named a MacArthur Fellow. Congratulations, Professor Eldey. All of us at the University of Utah are united in purpose. We strive to provide
Welcome to the
today's
chat.
students with
I'm
an
a bit early.
exceptional
I'm about
experience
8 minutes
that will
early,
equip them for a
so
vibrant
I already
future
did my intro,
as
guys.
members of the
So
global community.
I might
Students
do it
are
again
quite
once
simply at the
I get
center
more
of
people up
all
in
we
here.
do. Let me introduce you to our student body leaders. Ephraim
So
Koo,
do you guys think this is going to be toxic
Michelle
or this going to be
Valdez,
more
Vice
respectable
President of Student Relations,
between the two
and Ayana
candidates?
Amici, Vice President of University Relations. These individuals exemplify inquisitive, smart, creative students who will lead us into the future. I asked Michelle one thing she wanted the world to know about the University of Utah, and she said
Yeah, I'm
that
about
this is a place
9 minutes
for everyone from
early,
any
so
background to come and accomplish extraordinary things. This is an institution for anyone, not only to learn, do research, teach, or lead, but to do all of those things in an exemplary manner. At the University of Utah, there is endless opportunity. And Ephraim offered a message of hope for the students who are listening tonight. If there's anything I hope for the students, young, emerging leaders watching and listening tonight, it is the hope that we will feel empowered to make our voices heard and our presence known, and the hope that we recognize the power and potential we have to act, to make a significant difference in our communities. But it all starts
I
with
feel
what
like
we
some
do
stuff is
today,
going to go down. It's going to
especially
be some
as we tune in tonight. We are the future, yes, but we
toxicity.
are also the present, and present we will be. This election may be the first involvement in the nation's political process for many students. emphasize how very important it is to be a part of an informed, involved citizenry. Ayana offered this message from students here at the U to students listening from around the world. I want students worldwide to know that partaking in election processes is indispensable, as we are all citizens of humankind, and our chief role as such is to tailor the world to be more ethical than the one we grew up in.
What's up?
In order to avoid complicity in governmental injustice, it is our responsibility to vote for just outcomes within our own respective structures. It is our responsibility to be commonly decent. From all of us at the University of Utah, our very best wishes to Vice President Mike Pence and Senator Kamala Harris this evening. And my deepest appreciation to all who helped plan and prepare for tonight, from our campus, the Utah Debate Commission, and the Commission on Presidential Debates. Thank you all, and again, warmest welcome to the University of Utah.
Yeah, I can be in and wake it off.
You have all doing what?
Debate tonight. So I'm straining.
Well, let me have some of your cookies.
I don't have any more.
I think you're lying.
I don't.
Where your other snacks at?
Downstairs.
Alright.
Snacks downstairs.
Fuck Trump! Sorry.
See what's right? Yeah.
You need to get you a sign to say recording your process.
Yeah,
And put it up there.
that's a good idea.
I'll make you one. So you
Okay.
can do it.
Alright. Uh-oh. Why is it quiet? What's going on here? Sorry guys, that was my sister and my niece. I just walked in my room. I don't hear any talking though. A second. Y'all know I'm going live.
Please welcome the first print journalist to be the solo moderator of one of the general election debates, Washington Bureau Chief of USA Today, Susan Page.
Hey, welcome. And congratulations, you have scored the most exclusive tickets in the United States. Hamilton has nothing on the Commission on Presidential Debates when it comes to exclusive tickets. I want to offer a special welcome to Vice President Pence's family. I think it's there. And to Senator Kamala Harris's family on this side. And most especially to my bosses who are seated right up there. And I'm very glad that they came and joined us. My bosses from USA Today and from Gannett. We're glad that you're here. But this debate is not about you. And it's not about me. It's about the millions of Americans who are going to be watching it. And that's why I'm going to ask you for your help. I'm going to ask you for your silence. I'm going to ask you during the debate not to cheer or to boo or to hiss or to laugh, because that is distracting for the people we are really staging this debate to reach. There will be 2 times when you can applaud. That will be when I announce the 2 candidates on the stage. They'll come on the stage simultaneously. That'll be a time to applaud. And then applaud again at the very end of the debate. But if you could keep restrain your enthusiasm between those 2 times, I'd appreciate it. And if you could send me a little good karma, that would also be appreciated, but quietly. I'm going now to sit down and get settled and turn my back to you, but not in a rude way. And I'll see you on the other side. Thanks again for being here.
Okay, what's going on here? There we go.
You gotta lose this guy. Who is it?
Oh, wait.
Doesn't matter, he'll kill both of us.
Start an ad.
Promise me
Yeah.
something. Yeah? Don't follow me.
Okay. Okay. Can you guys hear? Sorry, I was gone. I got some family that's over. As soon as I start streaming, family wants to come over. Alright, there's still no noise. What's going on with the no noise? Okay, she just told them rules. Okay. Dang it. Rules. Don't be toxic. Like the last debate. That was insane. Can you guys hear? Because I can't hear anything. Not really. I might have to close out Fox app again. Hold up. Let me do this again. Close it out and come back. Come back to it. There we go. Maybe it's just like that until what time is it? It's 8:59. Maybe it'll be sound at 9. I can't even hear it right. Should be able to hear it, but okay. We'll give it another minute or two. See if it'll be some noise. Oh yeah, it's gonna be good too. I hope it's not toxic. Because people will say, you know, this is gonna be the rules, and then people are good for breaking the rules. So we're just gonna have to see how this goes. What's up with the no sound? Oh, come on, Fox News. Bear with me, guys. This is like my second or third stream. Okay, this is Fox News right here. So, I'm confused. Like, why can't I? Is it paused? No, it's live now. Oh, come on. What is going on? Come on, Fox News. Is anyone else streaming this so I can go and look at it? I don't think so. Oh, wait. Okay. Steven Crowder's streaming it. He talks a lot, so I'm not gonna do him.
Elijah,
Oh my God.
ready for our raid-a-thon. Is that another RPG?
Okay. So what's going on? People are moving. I guess I just gotta be patient. Alright, we shall see what we get here. Oh God. This is gonna be toxic. I just know it. I know Kamala Harris is gonna say some stupid shit. And then that's how it's gonna start. I bet you. I put $5 down. I'm thinking about making a Discord for I haven't come up with a name for my subscribers yet. I'm thinking about making a Discord for you guys can join me in the chat and everything, for we can have a, you know, for we all can talk. For it won't just be me sitting up and talking. I'm thinking about making one. Oh well, you guys can debate wherever y'all want in chat. That's free speech. I ain't no liberal that will just suppress you for stuff, you know, some things that you may be saying and I don't agree on. I'm not gonna just mute you for that. That's some communist stuff right there. But there's only one person watching, which is you, Amber. But I'm pretty sure more people will join. As soon as they come on with this, come on. Well, what the hell is taking them so long? It's 9 o'clock. It's 9:02. Come on. It's at 9 o'clock. Whoops. But I appreciate you tuning in to the live stream here. Uh-oh. Wait. Nothing's going on yet. Ready for Biden and Trump again. Oh my gosh. That's gonna be Biden's gonna make an excuse, but let me shut up. I think it's about to
Good
start.
evening.
Okay.
From the University of Utah in Salt Lake City, welcome to the first and only vice presidential debate of 2020. Sponsored by the nonpartisan
Here we go,
Commission
guys.
on Presidential Debates.
This is gonna be toxic.
I'm Susan
I'm playing.
Page of USA Today. It is my honor to moderate this debate, an important part of our democracy. In Kingsbury Hall tonight, we have a small and socially
Can you guys
distanced
hear?
audience, and we've taken
Let me know in the
extra
chat if y'all
precautions
can or
during
cannot
the
hear.
pandemic. Among other things, everyone in the audience is required to wear a face mask, and the candidates will be seated 12 feet apart. The audience is enthusiastic about their candidates, but they've agreed to express that enthusiasm only twice, at the end of the debate, and now, when I introduce the candidates. Please welcome California Senator Kamala Harris and Vice President Mike Pence.
Here we go. I can't wait for this. Are they gonna shake hands? Come on, be adults. No? Okay.
Senator Harris and Vice President Pence, thank you for being here. We're meeting as
Snatch
President
off her
Trump and his
wig.
first lady continue to undergo treatment in Washington after testing positive for COVID-19. We send our thoughts and prayers to them for their rapid and complete recovery and for the recovery of everyone afflicted by the coronavirus. The two campaigns and the Commission on Presidential Debates have agreed to the ground rules for tonight. I'm here to enforce them on behalf of the millions of Americans who are watching.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of people watching.
No one in either campaign or at the commission or anywhere else has been told in advance what topics I'll raise or what questions I'll ask. This 90-minute debate will be divided into 9 segments of about 10 minutes each. I'll begin a segment by posing a question to each of you, sometimes the same question, sometimes a different question on the same topic. You will then have 2 minutes to answer without interruption by me or the other candidates.
It's going to be some
Then
interruption.
we'll take
Watch.
6 minutes or so to discuss the issue. At that point, although there will always be more to say, we'll move on to the next topic. We want a debate that is lively, but Americans also deserve a discussion that is civil. These are tumultuous times, but we can and will have a respectful exchange.
Trump has
about
learned
the
from
big issues
any mistakes.
facing our nation.
He would do good and
Let's begin with
better
the ongoing
next time.
pandemic
Yeah,
that has cost
I agree.
so much. Senator Harris, the coronavirus is not under control. Over the past week, Johns Hopkins reports that 39 states have had more COVID cases over the past 7 days than in the week before. States have new records. Even if a vaccine is released soon, the next administration will face hard choices. What would a Biden administration do in January and February that a Trump administration wouldn't do? Would you
Yeah.
impose new lockdowns for businesses and schools and hotspots? A federal mandate to wear masks? You have 2 minutes to
What's she got to
respond
say?
without interruption.
Thank you, Susan. Well, the American people have witnessed what is the greatest failure of any presidential administration in the
Oh
history of
God, here she go with this.
And here are the facts. 210,000 dead people in our country in just
Okay.
the last several months. Over 7 million
It's not
people
all because of
infected.
Trump either, stupid.
1 in 5 businesses closed. We're looking at frontline workers who have been treated like sacrificial workers. We are looking at over 30 million people who in the last several months had to file for unemployment. And here's the thing. On January 28th, the vice president and the president were informed about the nature of this pandemic. They were informed that it's lethal in consequence, that it is airborne, that it will affect young people, and that it would be contracted because it is airborne. And they knew what was happening and they didn't tell you. Can you imagine if you knew on January 28th, as opposed to March 13th, what they knew, what you might have done to prepare? They knew and they covered it up.
So what you guys gonna do?
The president said it was a hoax. They minimized the seriousness of it. The president said, you're on one side of his ledger if you wear a mask, you're on the other side of his ledger if you don't. And in spite of all of that, today they still don't have a
She
plan.
still haven't said what they would do. She's trying to skip over that.
And our plan is about what we need to do around a national strategy for contact tracing, for testing, for administration of the vaccine, and making sure that it will be free for all. That is the plan that Joe Biden has and that I have, knowing that we have to get a hold of what has been going on, and we need to save our country. And Joe Biden is the best leader to do that, and frankly, this administration has forfeited their right to re-election based on this.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, more than 210,000 Americans have died of COVID-19 since February. The U.S. death toll as a percentage of our population is higher than that of almost every other wealthy nation on earth. For instance, our death rate is 2.5 times that of Canada next door. You head the administration's coronavirus task force. Why is the U.S. death toll as a percentage of our population higher than that of almost every other wealthy country? And you have 2 minutes to respond without interruption.
Susan, thank you. And I want to thank the Commission and the University of Utah for hosting this event. And Senator Harris, it's a privilege to be on the stage with you. Our nation has gone through a very challenging time this year. But I want the American people to know that from the very first day, President Donald Trump has put the health of America first. Before there were more than 5 cases in the United States, all people who had returned from China, President Donald Trump did what no other American president had ever done. And that was he suspended all travel from China, the second largest economy in the world. Now, Senator Joe Biden opposed that decision. He said it was xenophobic and hysterical. But I can tell you, having led the White House Coronavirus Task Force, that decision alone by President Trump bought us invaluable time to stand up the greatest national mobilization since World War II. And I believe it saved hundreds of thousands of American lives. Because with that time, we were able to reinvent testing. More than 115 million tests have been done to date. We were able to see to the delivery of billions of supplies so our doctors and nurses had the resources and support they needed. And we began, really, before the month of February was out, to develop a vaccine and to develop medicines and therapeutics that have been saving lives all along the way. And under President Trump's leadership, Operation Warp Speed, we believe we'll have literally tens of millions of doses of a vaccine before the end of this year. The reality is, when you look at the Biden plan, it reads an awful lot like what President Trump and I and our task force have been doing every step of the way. And quite frankly, when I look at their plan that talks about advancing testing, creating new PPE, developing a vaccine, it looks a little bit like plagiarism, which is something Joe Biden knows a little bit about. I think the American people know that this is a president who has put the health of America first, and the American people, I believe with my heart, can be proud of the sacrifices they have made. It's saved countless American lives.
Senator Harris, would you like to respond?
Absolutely. Whatever the vice president is claiming the administration has done, clearly it hasn't worked. When you're looking at over 210,000 dead bodies in our country, American lives that have been lost, families that are grieving that loss. And you know, the vice president is the head of the task force and knew on January 28th how serious this was. And then thanks to Bob Woodward, we learned that they knew about it. And then when that was exposed, the vice president said, when asked, well, why didn't y'all tell anybody? He said, because the president wanted people to remain calm.
Well, let's get
no, but Susan, this is important.
Susan,
I want to add, Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I have to
I'm
weigh
speaking.
in.
Yep, you
So
can have
I
15 more
wanna-
seconds, and then we'll give the Vice President
Thank
a
you.
chance to
So I
respond.
want to ask the American people, how calm were you when you were panicked about where you're going to get your next roll of toilet paper? How calm were
Bruh.
you when your kids were sent home from school and you didn't know when they could go back? How calm were you
She
when your
said that's an
children
example.
couldn't see your parents because you were afraid they could kill them?
Let's give Vice President Pence a chance to respond. Vice President Pence, you have 1 minute to
You know,
respond.
there's not a day gone by that I haven't thought of every American family that's lost a loved one. And I want all of you to know that you'll always be in our hearts and in our prayers. But when you say what the American people have done over these last 8 months hasn't worked, that's a great disservice to the sacrifices the American people have made. But the reality is, Dr. Fauci said, everything that he told the president in the Oval Office, the president told the American people. Now, President Trump, I will tell you, has boundless confidence in the American people, and he always spoke with confidence that we'd get through this together. But when you say it hasn't worked, when Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx and our medical experts came to us in the second week of March, they said if the president didn't take the unprecedented step of shutting down roughly half of the American economy, that we could lose 2.2 million Americans. And that's the reality.
Thank you.
They also
Thank you,
said
Vice
to us if we
President
did
Pence.
everything right, Susan, we could still lose more than 200,000 Americans.
Vice
Now,
President
one
Pence.
life lost is too
Thank you.
many, Susan. But the American people, I believe, deserve credit for the sacrifices that they have made, putting the health of their family and their neighbors first, our doctors, our nurses, our first
Thank you, Vice
responders.
President Pence.
And I'm going to speak up on behalf of what the American people have done.
Vice President Pence, you were your administration and congressional officials. No social distancing, few masks, and now a cluster of coronavirus cases among those who were there. How can you expect Americans to follow the administration's safety guidelines to protect themselves from COVID when you at the White House have not been doing so?
That's a good
Well, the
question.
American people have demonstrated over the last 8 months that when given the facts, they're willing to put the health of their families and their neighbors and people they don't even know first. President Trump and I have great confidence in the American people and their ability to take that information and today. We surged resources to New Jersey and New York and New Orleans and Detroit. We told the American people what needed to be done, and the American people made the sacrifices. When the outbreak in the Sun Belt happened this summer, again, Americans stepped forward. But the reality is the work of the President of the United States goes on. A vacancy on the Supreme Court of the United States has come upon us, and the President introduced Judge Amy Coney
Yes,
Barrett.
thank you. Thank you, Vice
But at
President
that,
Pence.
if I may say, that Rose Garden event, there's been a great deal of speculation about it. My wife Karen and I were there and honored to be there. Many of the people who were at that event, Susan, actually were tested
Yes.
for coronavirus, and it was an outdoor event, which all of our scientists regularly and routinely advise. The difference here is President Trump and I trust the American people to make choices in the best interest of their health. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris consistently talk about mandates, and not just mandates with the coronavirus, but a government takeover of health care,
Thank you,
the
Vice
Green New
President Pence.
Deal, all government control. We're about freedom and respecting the freedom of the American people.
Yeah.
Let's talk about respecting the American people. You respect the American people when you tell them the truth. You respect the American people when you have the courage
Which we've
to be a
always
leader
done.
speaking of those things that you may not want people to hear, but they need to hear so they can protect themselves. But this administration stood on information that if you had as a parent, if you had as a worker knowing you didn't have enough money saved up, and now you're standing in a food line because of the ineptitude of an administration that was unwilling to speak the truth to the American people. So let's talk about caring about the American people. The American people have had to sacrifice far too much because of the incompetence of this administration. It is asking too much of the people.
Susan, we talked
No,
about
Vice
It is
President
asking
Pence.
too much of the people. That they would not be equipped with the information they need to help themselves to protect
Susan,
their parents
President-
and their
I'm sorry.
children.
Kamala Harris, Senator Harris, I'm sorry.
That's fine, I'm Kamala.
No, you're Senator Harris to me. For life to get back to normal, Dr. Anthony Fauci and other experts say that most of the people who can be vaccinated need to be vaccinated. But half of Americans now say they wouldn't take a vaccine if it was released now. If the Trump administration approves a vaccine before or after the election, should Americans take it, and would you take it?
If the public health professionals, if Dr. Fauci, if the doctors tell us that we should take it, I'll be the first in line to take it. Absolutely. But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
Vice President Pence, there have been a lot of repercussions from this pandemic. In recent days, the president's diagnosis of COVID-19 has underscored the importance of the job that you hold and that you are seeking. That's our second topic tonight. It's the role of the vice president. One of you will make history on January 20th. You will be the vice president to the oldest president the United States has ever had. Donald Trump will be 74 years old on Inauguration Day. Joe Biden will be 78 years old. That already has raised concerns among some voters, concerns that have been sharpened by President Trump's hospitalization.
Yeah, they both old, very old.
Vice President Pence, have you had a conversation or reached an agreement with President Trump about safeguards or procedures when it comes to the issue of presidential disability? And if not, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes without interruption.
Well, Susan, thank you, although I would like to go back.
I think we need to move on
well,
to the issue
thank you,
of
but I would like to
vice
go back
presidency.
because the reality is that we're going to have a vaccine, Senator, in record time, in unheard of time, in less than a year. We have 5 companies in phase 3 clinical trials, and we're right now producing tens of millions of doses. So the fact that you continue to undermine public confidence in a vaccine, if the vaccine emerges during the Trump administration, I think is unconscionable. And Senator, I just ask you, stop playing politics with people's lives. The reality is that we will have a vaccine, we believe, before the end of this year. And it will have the capacity to save countless American lives. And your continuous undermining of confidence in a vaccine is it's just unacceptable. And let me also say, the reality is when you talk about failure in this administration, we actually do know what failure looks like in a pandemic. It was 2009. The swine flu arrived in the United States. Thankfully, it ended up not being as lethal as the coronavirus. But before the end of the year, when Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, not 7.5 million people contracted the swine flu. 60 million Americans contracted the swine flu. If the swine flu had been as lethal as the coronavirus, in 2009, when Joe Biden was vice president, we would have lost 2 million American lives. His own chief of staff, Ron Klain, would say last year that it was pure luck that they did, quote, everything possible wrong. And we learned from that. They left the strategic national stockpile empty. They left an empty and hollow plan, but we still learned from it. And I think the American people, I'm going to say again, can be proud of what we have done. And Senator, please stop undermining confidence in a vaccine.
Senator Harris, let me ask you the same question that I asked Vice President Pence, which is,
Pence is already
have you had a
destroyed.
conversation or reached an agreement
My
with Vice
Discord,
President
well, it's not
Biden
my Discord, what's the
about
group?
safeguards or procedures when it comes to the issue of presidential disability? And if not, and if you win the election next month, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So let me tell you, first of all, the day I got the call from Joe Biden, it was actually a Zoom call, asking me to serve with him on this ticket was probably one of the most memorable days of my life. I thought about my mother, who came to the United States at the age of 19, gave birth to me at the age of 25 at Kaiser Hospital in Oakland, California. And the thought that I'd be sitting here right now, I know would make her proud. She must be looking down on this. Joe and I were raised in a very similar way. We were raised with values that are about hard work.
But didn't you call him a rapist or pedophile and stuff during the Democratic debate?
Of fighting for the dignity of all people. And I think Joe asked me to serve
She was
with him
slamming
because,
him in that
I had
damn
a career
debate.
that included being elected the first woman district attorney of San Francisco, where I created models of innovation for law enforcement in terms of reform of the criminal justice system. I was elected the first woman of color and black woman to be elected Attorney General of the state of California.
You're
where
not
I ran
black,
the
you're
second largest
Indian.
Department of Justice in the United States, second only to the United States Department of Justice. And there I took on everything from transnational criminal organizations to the big banks that were
You're
taking advantage
Indian.
of homeowners.
Why you calling
The
yourself
for-profit
black?
colleges that were taking advantage of veterans. And
You
then,
do
of
got
course,
color
now I
though,
serve in the
but you're
United
not
States
black.
Senate as only the second black woman ever elected to the United States Senate. I serve on the Senate Intelligence Committee.
You're not
where I've
black.
been
Once
regular
again.
receipt of classified information about threats to our nation and hotspots around the world. I've traveled the world. I've met with our soldiers in war zones. And I think Joe has asked me to serve with him because he knows that we share a purpose, which is about lifting up the American people. And after the 4 years that we have seen of Donald Trump unifying our country around our common values and principles.
Thank you, Senator Harris. You know, neither President Trump nor Vice President Biden has released the sort of detailed health information that had become the modern norm until the 2016 election. And in recent days, President Trump's doctors have given misleading answers or refused to answer basic questions about his health. And my question to each of you in turn is this information voters deserve to know? Vice President Pence, would you like to go first?
Well, Susan, thank you. And let me say, on behalf of the President and the First Lady, how moved we've all been by the outpouring of prayers and concern for the President. And I do believe it's emblematic of the prayers and the concern that have ushered forth for every American impacted by the coronavirus. But the care the President received at Walter Reed Hospital, the White House doctors, was exceptional. And the transparency that they practiced all along the way will continue. The American people have a right to know about the health and well-being of their president, and will continue to do that. But I'm just extremely grateful and was more than a little moved by the broad and bipartisan support. And Senator, I want to thank you and Joe Biden for your expressions of genuine concern. And I also want to congratulate you, as I did on that phone call, on the historic nature of your nomination. I never expected to be on this stage 4 years ago, so I know the feeling. But the reality is we've got an election before the American people in the midst of this challenging year. And the stakes have never been higher, but I think the choice has never been clearer.
I want to give Senator Harris a chance to respond to the same question I asked, which is, do voters have a right to know more detailed health information?
Absolutely, and that's why Joe Biden has been so incredibly transparent, and certainly by contrast, the president has not, both in terms of health records, but also let's look at taxes. We now know, because of great investigative journalism, that Donald Trump paid $750 in taxes. When I first heard about it, I literally said, "You mean $750,000?" And it was like, no, $750. We now know Donald Trump owes and is in debt for $400 million. And just so everyone is clear, when we say in debt, it means you owe money to somebody. And it'd be really good to know who the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, owes money to, because the American people have a right to know what is influencing the President's decisions. And is he making those decisions on the best interest of the American people?
I wonder if that's true or not. If he owes all that money.
So, Susan, I'm glad you asked.
I'm going to look into it.
Because it has to be across the board. Joe has been incredibly transparent over many, many years. The one thing we all know about Joe, he puts it all out there.
He sure does, with smelling women's hair and stuff.
But Donald Trump, on the other hand, has been covering up everything.
Thank you, Senator Harris. I want to give you a chance to respond. Vice President.
Well, look, I respect the fact that Joe Biden spent 47 years in public life. I respect your public service as well.
Thank you.
The American people have a president who's a businessman, who's a job creator, who's paid tens of millions of dollars in taxes, payroll taxes, property taxes. He's created tens of thousands of American jobs. And the president said those public reports are not accurate. And the president's also released literally stacks of financial disclosures the American people can review just as the law allows. But the distinction here is that Joe Biden, 47 years in public service, compared to President Donald Trump, who brought all of that experience 4 years ago.
Thank you, Vice
And turned this economy around by cutting taxes, rolling back regulation,
Thank you,
unleashing
Vice
American
President.
energy fighting for free and fair trade, and all of that's
Thank you,
on the
Vice
line
President
if
Pence.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
You know, that's a
are in
good
the White House.
segue into our third
great
topic,
segue.
which is about the economy. This has been another aspect of life for Americans that's been so affected by this coronavirus. We have a jobs crisis brewing. On Friday, we learned that the unemployment rate had declined to 7.9% in September, but the job growth had stalled, and that was before the latest round of layoffs and furloughs in the airline industry at Disney and elsewhere. Hundreds of thousands of discouraged workers have stopped looking for work. Nearly 11 million jobs that existed at the beginning of the year haven't been replaced. Those hardest hit include Latinos, Blacks, and women. Senator Harris, the Biden-Harris campaign has proposed new programs to boost the economy, and you would pay for that new spending by raising $4 trillion in taxes on wealthy individuals and corporations.
Jesus.
Some economists warn that could curb entrepreneurial ventures that fuel growth and create jobs.
Tax the
Would
rich.
raising taxes put the
Damn.
recovery at risk? And you have 2 minutes to answer uninterrupted.
Thank you. On the issue of the economy, I think there couldn't be a more fundamental difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Joe Biden believes you measure the health and the strength of America's economy based on the health and the strength of the American worker and the American family. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who measures the strength of the economy based on how rich people are doing, which is why he passed a tax bill benefiting the top 1% and the biggest corporations of America, leading to a $2 trillion deficit that the American people are going to have to pay for. On day one, Joe Biden will repeal that tax bill. He'll get rid of it. And what he'll do with the money is invest it in the American people. And through a plan that is about investing in infrastructure, something that Donald Trump said he would do. I remember hearing about some infrastructure week. I don't think it ever happened. But Joe Biden will do that. He'll invest in infrastructure. It's about upgrading our roads and bridges, but also investing in clean energy and renewable energy. Joe is going to invest that money in what we need to do around innovation. There was a time when our country believed in science and invested in research and development so that we were an innovation leader on the globe. Joe Biden will use that money to invest in education. So, for example, for folks who want to go to a 2-year community college, it will be free. If you come from a family that makes less than $125,000, you'll go to a public university for free. And across the board, we'll make sure that if you have student loan debt, it's cut by $10,000. That's how Joe Biden thinks about the economy, which is it's about investing in the people of our country as opposed to passing a tax bill, which had the benefit of letting American corporations go offshore to do their business.
Thank you,
You're
Senator
welcome.
Harris. Vice President Pence, your administration has been predicting a rapid and robust recovery, but the latest economic report suggests that's not happening. Should Americans be braced for an economic comeback that is going to take not months, but a year or more? You have 2 minutes to answer uninterrupted.
When President Trump and I took office, America had gone through the slowest economic recovery since the Great Depression. So when Joe Biden was vice president, they tried to tax and spend and regulate and bail our way back to a growing economy. President Trump cut taxes across the board. Despite what Senator Harris says, the average American family of 4 had $2,000 in savings in taxes. And with the rise in wages that occurred, most predominantly for blue-collar, hardworking Americans, the average household income for a family of 4 increased by $4,000 following President Trump's tax cuts. But America, you just heard Senator Harris tell you, on day one, Joe Biden's going to raise your taxes. It's really remarkable to think. I mean, right after a time where we're going through a pandemic that lost 22 million jobs at the height, we've already added back 11.6 million jobs because we had a president who cut taxes, rolled back regulation, unleashed American energy, fought for free and fair trade, and secured $4 trillion from the Congress of the United States to give direct payments to families, save 50 million jobs through the Paycheck Protection Program. We literally have spared no expense to help the American people and the American worker through this. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris want to raise taxes. They want to bury our economy under a $2 trillion Green New Deal, which you were one of the original co-sponsors of in the United States Senate. They want to abolish fossil fuels and ban fracking, which would cost hundreds of thousands of American jobs all across the heartland. And Joe Biden wants to go back to the economic surrender to China, that when we took office, half of our international trade deficit was with China alone. And Joe Biden wants to repeal all of the tariffs that President Trump put into effect to fight for American jobs and American workers. Joe Biden says democracy's on the ballot. Make no mistake about it, Susan. The American economy, the American comeback is on the ballot with 4 more years of growth
Thank you.
and opportunity,
Thank you.
4 more years of President Donald Trump. 2021
Thank
is
you,
going
Vice
to be the
President.
biggest economic year in the history of this country.
Thank you, Vice President Pence. Senator Harris.
Well, I mean, I thought we saw enough of it in last week's debate, but I think this is supposed to be a debate based on fact and truth. And the truth and the fact is, Joe Biden has been very clear. He will not raise taxes on anybody who makes less than $400,000
He said he's
a
going
year.
to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Wait.
I'm speaking.
It'd be important if you said the truth. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. That was tax cuts that gave the average working family $2,000 in a tax break every single year. Senator,
That is
that's the math.
absolutely not true. That
Is he
tax
only
bill-
is he only going to repeal part of the Trump tax cuts?
If you don't mind letting me finish, we can then have a conversation, okay?
Please.
Okay. Joe Biden will not raise taxes on anyone who makes less than $400,000 a year. He has been very clear about that. Joe Biden will not end fracking. He has been very clear about that. Joe Biden is the one who, during the Great Recession, was responsible for the Recovery Act that brought America back. And now the Trump-Pence administration wants to take credit when they rode the coattails of Joe Biden's success for the economy that they had at the beginning of their term. Of course, now the economy is a complete disaster. But Joe Biden, on the one hand, did that. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who has reigned over a recession that is being compared to the Great Depression. On the one hand, you have Joe Biden, who was responsible with President Barack Obama for the Affordable Care Act, which brought health care to over 20 million Americans and protected people with pre-existing conditions. And what it also did is it saved those families who otherwise were going bankrupt because of hospital bills they could not afford. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who's in court right now, trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, which means that you will lose protections if you have pre-existing conditions. And this is very important, Susan.
Yes.
And it's
we need to give Vice President.
He interrupted me, and I'd like to just finish, please. If you have a pre-existing condition, heart disease, diabetes, breast cancer, they're coming for you. If you love someone who has a pre-existing condition,
Thank
they're
you, Senator
coming for
Harris.
you. If you are under the age of 26 on your parents' coverage, they're coming for you.
Senator Harris, thank you.
You're welcome.
Let me give you a chance to respond.
Well, I hope we have a chance to talk about health care because Obamacare was a disaster. The American people remember it well. President Trump and I have a plan to improve health care and to protect pre-existing conditions for every American. But look, Senator Harris, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. You yourself said on multiple occasions when you were running for president, you would ban fracking. Joe Biden looked a supporter in the eye and pointed and said, I guarantee that we will abolish fossil fuels. They have a $2 trillion version of the Green New Deal, Susan, that your newspaper, USA Today, said really wasn't that very different from the original Green New Deal. More taxes, more regulation, banning fracking, abolishing fossil fuel, crushing American energy, and economic surrender to China is a prescription for economic decline. President Trump and I will keep America growing. The V-shaped recovery that's underway right now will continue with 4 more years of President Donald Trump.
Thank you very, very much, Vice President Pence. Once again, you've provided the perfect segue to a new topic, which is climate change. And Vice President Pence, I'd like to pose the first question to you. This year, we've seen record-setting hurricanes in the South. Another one, Hurricane Delta, is now threatening.
They need to talk about
And
guns.
we've seen record-setting wildfires
I want to
in the
hear
West.
the
Do you believe,
opinions on the
as the
guns.
scientific community has concluded,
See what they got to
that
say.
man-made climate change
Not
has
this.
made wildfires bigger, hotter, and more deadly, and have made hurricanes wetter, slower, and more damaging? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Thank you, Susan. Well, first, I'm very proud of our record on the environment and on conservation. According to all of the best estimates, our air and land are cleaner than any time ever recorded. Our water is among the cleanest in the world. And just a little while ago, the president signed the Outdoors Act, the largest investment in our public lands and public parks in 100 years. So President Trump has made a commitment to conservation and to the environment. Now, with regard to climate change, the climate is changing. The issue is, what's the cause and what do we do about it? President Trump has made it clear that we're going to continue to listen to the science. Now, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris would put us back in the Paris Climate Accord. They'd impose the Green New Deal, which would crush American energy, would increase the energy costs of American
Well, I don't know too much about the air quality, but I've been breathing just fine.
President Trump and I believe that
It's nothing like
progress
China,
that we
like
have
China's
made
air quality.
in a cleaner environment has been happening precisely because we have a strong free market economy. You know, what's remarkable is the United States has reduced CO2 more than the countries that are still in the Paris Climate Accord, but we've done it through innovation. And we've done it through natural gas and fracking, which, Senator, the American people can go look at the record. I know Joe Biden says otherwise now, as you do, but the both of you repeatedly committed to abolishing fossil fuel and banning fracking. And so by creating the kind of American innovation, we're actually steering toward a stronger and better environment. With regard to wildfires, President Trump and I believe that forest management has to
The
be
wildfire
front and
is just a
center. Even
disaster.
Governor Gavin Newsom
It's
from
been
your state
bad
has
over
agreed
there on
we've
the
got
West
to work on
Coast.
forest management. And with regard to hurricanes, the National Oceanic Administration tells us that actually, as difficult as they are,
Thank you, Vice President.
there are no more hurricanes today than
Thank
there
you.
were 100 years ago.
Thank you.
But many of the climate
We are
use
a
hurricanes
reason
and wildfires to
of
try and
climate
sell the
change.
goods of
So
a Green New Deal. And President Trump and I are going to
we are
always put
boosting,
American
like,
jobs and American workers.
we're basically
Senator Harris,
making it
as
happen
the Vice
faster.
President mentioned, you co-sponsored the Green New Deal in Congress.
Like
But
ice
Vice
ages
President
and all
Biden
that.
said in last week's debate that he does not support the Green New Deal. But if you look at the Biden-Harris campaign website, it describes the Green New Deal as a crucial framework. What exactly would be the stance of a Biden-Harris administration toward the Green New Deal? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Sure. So first of all, I will repeat, and the American people know, that Joe Biden will not ban fracking. That is a fact. That is a fact. I will repeat that Joe Biden has been very clear that he thinks about growing jobs, which is why he will not increase taxes for anyone who makes less than $400,000 a year. Joe Biden's
see about
economic
that.
plan, Moody's, which is a reputable Wall Street firm, has said will create 7 million more jobs than Donald Trump's. And part of those jobs that will be created by Joe Biden are going to be about clean energy and renewable energy. Because you see, Joe understands that the west coast of our country is burning, including my home state of California. Joe sees what is happening on the Gulf states, which are being battered by storms. Joe has seen and talked with the farmers in Iowa, whose entire crops have been destroyed because of floods. And so Joe believes, again, in science. I'll tell you something, Susan. I served, when I first got to the Senate, on the committee that's responsible for the environment. Do you know this administration took the word science off the website and then took the phrase climate change off the website? We have seen a pattern with this administration, which is they don't believe in science. And Joe's plan is about saying we're going to deal with it, but we're also going to create jobs. Donald Trump, when asked about the wildfires in California, and the question was, the
They
science is
always
telling us,
make
you
it
know what
so
Donald
it,
Trump
when they
said?
be
Science
talking,
doesn't know.
they always do that.
So let's talk about
Make it
who
look
is
like they're actually
prepared
gonna
to
do
lead our
something.
country over the course of the next 4 years on what is an existential threat to us as human beings. Joe is about saying we're going to invest that in renewable energy. It's going to be about the creation of millions of jobs. We will achieve net
Joe's
zero
half
emissions
dead.
by
He's not going to be
2050,
the president.
carbon
You
neutral
going
by
to be the president
2035.
if
Joe
y'all
has
win.
a plan.
Not Joe.
This has been
He's
a lot of
half
talk
dead
from the
already.
Trump administration, and really it has been
You're
to
going to
go
be the
backwards
president.
instead of forward. We will also re-enter the climate agreement with pride.
Senator Harris just said that climate change is an existential threat. Vice President Pence, do you believe that climate change poses an existential threat?
Duh.
As I said, Susan, the climate is changing. We'll follow the science. But once again, Senator Harris is denying the fact that they're going to raise taxes on every American. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that on day one he was going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. Those tax cuts delivered $2,000 in tax relief.
He's not answering the question. You got to answer the question,
With
dude.
regard to banning fracking, I
You're just
recommend
skipping over the
people
question.
look at the record. You yourself said repeatedly that you would ban fracking. You were the first Senate co-sponsor of the Green New Deal. And while Joe Biden denied the Green New Deal, Susan, thank you for pointing out, the Green New Deal is on their campaign website. And as USA Today said, it's essentially the same plan as you co-sponsored with AOC when she submitted it in the Senate. And you just heard the senator say that she's going to resubmit America to the Paris Climate Accord. Look, the American people have always cherished our environment. We'll continue to cherish it. We've made great progress reducing CO2 emissions through
Vibrator in the mouth. Oh, God.
fracking. We don't need a massive $2 trillion Green New Deal that would impose all new mandates on American businesses and American families.
Thank you.
Joe Biden wants us to
Vice
retrofit
President.
4 million
Thank you, Vice
American
President.
business buildings. It makes no sense. It will cost jobs. President Trump is going to
Vice
put
President.
America first. He's going to put jobs first, and we're going to take care of our environment and follow the science.
Thank
But,
you, Vice
on the
President.
issue of jobs,
Senator Harris.
let's talk about that. The vice president earlier referred to.
We can't do
part of
nothing about climate.
what he thinks is an
At the end of the day, Mother Nature's going to do what Mother Nature's going to do. But
You
we
lost
are
it.
accelerating
You lost it.
everything that's
What
been
ended up
happening.
is because
It's
of
going
a
to be an ice
so-called trade
age. It's
war
going to
with
be
China,
volcanoes.
America
It's going to be
lost
hurricanes.
300,000 manufacturing jobs. Farmers have experienced bankruptcy because of it. We are in a manufacturing recession because of it. And when we look at where this administration has been, there are estimates that by the end of the term of this administration, they will have lost more jobs than almost any other presidential administration. And the American people know what I'm talking about. You know, I think about 20-year-olds. You know, we have a 20-year-old, a 20-something-year-old who are coming out of high school and college right now, and you're wondering, is there going to be a job there for me? We're looking at people who are trying to figure out how they're going to pay rent by the end of the month. Almost half of American renters are worried about whether they're going to be able to pay rent by the end of the month. This is where the economy is in America right now, and it is because of the catastrophe and the failure of leadership of this administration.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, let me give you just 15 seconds to respond because then I want to move on.
Well, I'd love to respond. Look, lost the trade war with China. Joe Biden never fought it. Joe Biden has been a cheerleader for communist China through over the last several decades. And again, Senator Harris, you're entitled to your opinion. You're not entitled to your own fact. Vice President lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs, and President Obama said they were never coming back. He said we needed a magic wand to bring them back. In our first 3 years after we cut taxes, rolled back regulation, unleashed American energy, this administration saw 500,000 manufacturing jobs.
Susan chick isn't
That's
playing
exactly
around.
the kind of growth we're going to continue our nation through
Thank you,
this
Vice President.
pandemic. The Green
Sorry,
New
guys.
Deal, your
Vice
massive
President.
new mandates, your Paris Climate Accord, it's going to kill jobs this time, just like it killed jobs.
I just need to respond very briefly.
15 seconds. And
Thank
then
you.
we'll move on.
Thank you. Joe Biden is responsible for saving America's auto industry, and you voted against it. So let's set the record straight. Thank you.
I'd like to talk about China. We have, as our next topic, we have no more complicated or consequential foreign relationship than the one with China.
Fucker.
It is a huge market for American agricultural goods. It's a potential partner in dealing with climate change in North Korea. And in a video tonight, President Trump again blamed it for the coronavirus, saying China will pay. Vice
I mean,
President
it came
Pence,
from
what you
flipping
described
China.
are fundamental
They better pay
relationships
some
with
money.
China. Competitors adversaries,
Shit.
enemies. You have
Came
2
from
minutes.
freaking China.
Thank you, Susan. Well, before I leave that, let me speak to voting records if I can. You know, everybody knows that NAFTA cost literally thousands of American factories to close. We saw automotive jobs go south of the border. President Trump fought to renegotiate NAFTA. And the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement is now the law of the land. American people deserve to know Senator Kamala Harris was one of only 10 members of the Senate to vote against the USMCA. It was a huge win for American auto workers. It was a huge win for American farmers, especially dairy in the upper Midwest. But Senator, you said it didn't go far enough on climate change. That you put your radical environmental agenda ahead of American auto workers and ahead of American jobs. The American people deserve to know that. It's probably
She's taking notes.
Newsweek magazine said that Kamala Harris was the most liberal member of the United States Senate in 2019. More liberal than Bernie Sanders, more liberal than any of the others in the United States Senate. So now with regard to China, look, Susan, first and foremost, China is to blame for the coronavirus.
Exactly.
And President Trump is not happy about it. He's made that very clear, made it clear again today. China and the World Health Organization to China to get from the outset of this administration, standing up to China that have been taking advantage of America for decades in the wake of Joe Biden's cheerleading for China. President Trump made that decision before the end of January to suspend all travel from China. Again, the American people deserve to know Joe Biden opposed President Trump's decision to suspend all travel from China. He said it was hysterical. He said it was
Thank you, Vice President
xenophobic.
Pence.
But President Trump
Vice
has stood
President
up
Pence, your
to
time is
China.
up.
We're going to continue to stand strong.
Thank you, Vice President.
We want to improve the relationship, but we're going to level the playing field. And we're going to hold
Vice President
China
Pence.
accountable for what they did to America with the coronavirus.
Thank you. Senator Harris, let me ask you the same question that I asked the Vice President. How would you describe our fundamental relationship with China? Are we competitors, adversaries, enemies? You'll have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Susan, the Trump administration's perspective and approach to China has resulted in the loss of American lives, American jobs.
Trump's not
and
the only
America's
one, though.
standing.
Kamala. There's 3 branches of the government.
There's a weird obsession
Trump is
that
not the only
President
one in
Trump has
power.
had with getting rid of whatever accomplishment was achieved by President Obama and Vice President Biden. For example, they created within the White House an office that basically was responsible for monitoring pandemics. They got rid of it.
Not true.
There was a team of disease experts that President Obama and Vice President Biden dispatched to China to monitor what is now predictable and what might happen. They pulled them out. We now are looking at 210,000 Americans who have lost their lives. Let's look at the job situation. We mentioned before the trade deal, the trade war, they wanted to call it, with China. It resulted in
She
the
does
loss
seem
of
weird. She
over
keep calling herself
300
black, even though she's not
manufacturing
black.
jobs and a
I'm
manufacturing
sorry,
process.
guys. She's not
And the
black.
American
She's
consumer paid
Indian.
thousands of dollars more for goods.
Her father
because
is
of that
barely
failed
black.
war that they called it. Then let's talk about standing. Pew, the
Her mother's
reputable
100%
research
Indian.
firm, has done an analysis that shows that leaders of all of our formerly allied countries
Sure, she is.
have now
You know, she
decided
does got
that
color,
they
but
hold
she's
in
not
greater
black
esteem
woman.
and respect.
She's not.
Xi Jinping, the head of the Chinese Communist Party, than they do
Indian
Donald
people
Trump,
aren't
the
black.
President of the
What are you
United
talking
States,
about?
the Commander-in-Chief of the United States. This is where we are today because of a failure of leadership by this administration.
I think
Senator
some people are
Harris, we've seen
colorblind or something.
changes
She's
in
not black.
in the role
She
of
is.
the United States in
She
terms
does
of
got some
global
color,
leadership
but
over
she's
the
not
past 4 years.
quote
And of
African
course, times do
American.
change.
She's not.
What's your definition? We've seen strains with China, of course, as the Vice President mentioned. We've seen strains with our traditional allies in NATO and elsewhere. What is your definition of the role of American leadership?
My mother was white, but I was raised by a black father.
So,
Oh,
you know, Joe,
that's real good. That's
I
kind
love
of
talking
rare,
to Joe about a
you
lot
know,
of
in
these
our
issues. And,
community.
you know, Joe, I think he said
But
it
I'm
quite
glad
well.
that you
He
was
says, you know,
raised by
foreign policy, it might sound
your
complicated, but
father.
really it's relationships. So just think about it as relationships. And so we know this in our personal and professional relationships. You got to keep your word to your friends. Got to be loyal to your friends. People who've stood with you, got to stand with them. You got to know who your adversaries are and keep them in check. But what we have seen with Donald Trump is that he has betrayed our friends and embraced dictators around the world. Let's take, for example, Russia. So, Russia, I serve on the Intelligence Committee of the United States Senate. America's intelligence community told us Russia interfered in the election of the
Here we
president
go
of
with
the United
this.
States
The
in
rush.
2016
Oh
and
my
it's playing in
God.
2020. Christopher Wray, the
Yeah,
director
here we go with this
of the
again.
FBI, said the same. But Donald Trump, the commander-in-chief of the United States of America, prefers to take the word of Vladimir Putin over the word of the American intelligence community. You look at our friends at NATO. He's walked away from agreements. You can look at the Iran nuclear deal, which now has put us in a position where we are less safe because they are building up what might end up being a significant nuclear arsenal. We were in that deal, guys. We were in the Iran nuclear deal with friends, with allies around the country. And because of Donald Trump's
Good point,
unilateral
Amber.
approach to foreign policy, coupled with his isolationism, he pulled us out and has made America less safe. So, Susan, it's about relationships. And the thing that has always been part of the strength of our nation, in addition to our great military, has been that we keep our word. But Donald Trump doesn't understand that because he doesn't understand what it means to be honest.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, let me give you a chance to respond.
Well, thank you. Well, President Trump kept his word when we moved the American embassy to Jerusalem, capital of the state of Israel. When Joe Biden was vice president, they promised to do that. And we did. We stood strong with our allies, but we've been demanding. NATO is now contributing more to our common defense than ever before, thanks to President Trump's leadership. We've strengthened our alliances across the Asia-Pacific, and we've stood strong against those who would do us harm. You know, when President Trump came into office, ISIS had captured an area of the Middle East the size of Pennsylvania.
Damn.
President Trump unleashed the American military, and our armed forces destroyed the ISIS caliphate and took down their leader, al-Baghdadi, without one American casualty.
Yeah.
Al-Baghdadi was responsible for the death of thousands. But notably, America's hearts today are with the family of Kayla Mueller, her parents of which are here with us tonight in Salt Lake City. Today, two of the ISIS killers responsible for Kayla Mueller's murder were brought to justice in the United States. Jihadi John was killed on the battlefield along with the other beetle. The reality is that when Joe Biden was vice president, we had an opportunity to save Kayla Mueller. Breaks my heart to reflect on it, but the military came into the Oval Office, presented a plan. They said they knew where Kayla was. Baghdadi had held her for 18 months, abused her mercilessly before they killed her. But when Joe Biden was vice president, they hesitated for a month. And when armed forces finally went in, it was clear she'd been moved 2 days earlier. And her family says a heart that broke the heart of every American, that if President Donald Trump had been president, they believe Kayla would be alive today.
Thank you, Vice
Look, we
President.
destroyed the ISIS caliphate. And you talk about re-entering the Iran nuclear deal. And the last administration transferred $1.8 billion to the leading state sponsor
Thank you, Vice
of
President
terrorism.
Pence.
President Donald Trump got us out of the
Thank you,
deal.
Vice President Pence.
And when Qasem Soleimani was traveling to Baghdad
Thank you,
to
Vice
do harm
President
to Americans, President Donald Trump took
Thank you,
him
Vice
out.
President Pence.
And America is safer. Our allies are safer. And the American people know President Donald Trump will never
Thank you, Vice President
take
Pence.
action.
I would like to give Senator Harris a chance to respond, but not at such great length because, of course, there are other topics we want to talk about.
But I would like equal time.
Yes,
Thank you.
please go ahead.
First of all, to the Mueller family, I know about your daughter's case, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. What happened to her is awful, and it should have never happened. And I know Joe feels the same way. And I know that President Obama feels the same way. But you mentioned Soleimani. Let's start there. So after the strike on Soleimani, there was a counter strike on our troops in Iraq.
Yeah, Biden is
And
weird and old as
they
well.
suffered serious brain
He likes the
injuries.
hair
And do you
smell.
know what Donald Trump
I like to
dismissed
smell
them as?
hair.
Headaches. And this is about a pattern of Donald Trump's, where he has referred to our men who are serving in our military as suckers and losers. Donald Trump, who went to Arlington Cemetery and stood above the graves of our fallen heroes and said, what's in it for them? Because of course, you know, he only thinks about what's in it for him. Let's take what he said about John McCain, a great American hero. And Donald Trump says he doesn't deserve to be called a hero because he was a prisoner of war. And this is very important when you want to talk about who is the current commander-in-chief and what they care about and what they don't care about. Public reporting that Russia had bounties on the heads of American soldiers. And you know what a bounty is? It's somebody puts
I don't
a
think
price
Trump
on your
owes
head
that much
and
in
they will
debt.
pay
We're just
it
gonna
if
have to
you
go
are
do more
killed.
research and
And
look that up, see if
Donald
that's
Trump
true.
had talked
I
at
don't
least
know.
6 times to
Probably
Vladimir
does,
Putin
but just gonna
and
have to
never
look
brought up
it
the
up.
subject. Joe Biden would never do that.
Thank
Joe
you.
Biden would, but Joe Biden
Yeah.
would hold Russia to account for any threat
Like I
to
said
our nation's
earlier,
security or to
Joe
our
Biden
troops
would not be
who are
president. Your ass would
sacrificing
be.
their lives
The man is
to
half
bring about
dead.
democracy and our safety.
Thank you, Senator Harris. This is such an
Dementia.
important issue, but we have other important issues as well. And
Susan,
I want to make sure we have a chance
I really have
to talk
to
about.
respond to that.
I'm-
Look, she has.
15 seconds because
Well, I gotta
we're
have
trying
more
to
than
keep.
that. Look.
Well, I'm sorry, Vice President,
Look,
but you've
I-
had more time than she's had
The
so far.
slanders against President Donald Trump regarding men and women of our armed forces are absurd.
I'm sorry, Vice
My
President
son is a
Pence.
captain in the United
Yes.
States Marine Corps. My son-in-law is deployed in the United States Navy. I can assure all of you, with sons and daughters serving in our military, President Donald Trump not only respects but reveres all of those who serve in our armed forces, and any suggestion otherwise is ridiculous.
But
Let
thank
me
you,
also
Vice
say
President Pence.
that
Vice
the
President
American
Pence,
people
you
deserve,
know,
Susan,
Vice
the American
President
people
Pence,
deserve
I didn't,
to know.
Vice President
that-
Pence, I did not,
the
excuse
Susan,
me,
the
I did
American
not
people
create the
deserve to know
rules for tonight.
Joe Biden.
Your campaigns agreed to the rules for tonight's debate with the Commission on Presidential Debates. I'm here to enforce them, which involves moving from one topic to another, giving roughly equal time to both of you,
Go right
which is what I'm trying very hard to do.
Go right ahead.
So I want to go ahead and move to the next topic, which is an important one, as the last topic
I don't
was.
think the
and
response
that is
time
the
is
Supreme
long enough.
Court.
She'd be like 3 to 4 minutes long,
On
not
Monday,
2.
the Senate Judiciary Committee is scheduled to open hearings on Amy Coney Barrett's nomination to the Supreme Court. Senator Harris, you'll be there as a member of the committee. Her confirmation would cement the court's conservative majority and make it likely open to more abortion restrictions, even to overturning the landmark Roe v. Wade ruling. Access to abortion would then be
Abortion
up to the
is
states.
murder, flat out.
Vice President Pence, you're the former governor of Indiana. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, what would you
You're
want
killing the
Indiana
baby.
to do?
It's not
Would
your
you want
body.
your home state to ban all abortion?
It needs to be
You have 2
banned.
minutes, uninterrupted.
Well, thank you for the question, but I'll use a little bit of my time to respond to that very important issue before. The American people deserve to know Qasem Soleimani, the Iranian general, was responsible for the death of hundreds of American service members. When the opportunity came, we saw him headed to Baghdad to kill more Americans. President Trump didn't hesitate. And Qasem Soleimani is gone. But you deserve to know that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris actually criticized the decision to take out Qasem Soleimani. It's really inexplicable, but with regard to Joe Biden, it's explainable. Because history records that Joe Biden actually opposed the raid against Osama bin Laden.
It's not about the woman, it's about the baby. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Who who will not hesitate to act to protect American lives and to protect American service members, and that's what you have.
Baby is his own body.
Now, with regard to the Supreme Court of the United States, let me say President Trump and I could not be more enthusiastic about the opportunity to see Judge Amy Coney Barrett become Justice Amy Coney Barrett. She's a brilliant woman. And
now, if you were raped or something like that, that's a different discussion.
And our hope is,
but that's like not even 1% of the abortions anyway. People go abort babies because they spread the legs, have unprotected sex, and then, oh, I'm pregnant, I don't want the baby, I'm gonna kill it. No. Lucky I ain't president. That's all I gotta say about that. You lucky.
Judge Barrett was being confirmed for the Court of Appeals.
They be calling me Uncle Tom for decades. Yeah. I'm playing. I tried.
Said that it was a concern. Senator, I know one of our judicial nominees you actually attacked because they were a member of the Catholic Knights of Columbus, just because the Knights of Columbus holds pro-life views.
Thank you, Vice President.
Well, if not shit happens, you can keep your legs closed, or use condoms or birth control, or just ways not to get pregnant.
Senator Harris, you're the senator from and former Attorney General of California.
Human
so let
life
me
is
ask you a
precious.
parallel question to the one I posed to the Vice President. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, what would you want California to do? Would you want your home state to enact no restrictions on access to abortion? And you have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Thank you, Susan. First of all, Joe Biden and I are both people of faith, and it's insulting to suggest that we would knock anyone for their faith. And in fact, Joe, if elected, will be only the second practicing Catholic as President of the United States. On the issue of this nomination, Joe and I are very clear, as are the majority of the American people. We are 27 days before the decision about who will be the next president of the United States. And, before, when this conversation has come up, it's been about election year.
Anyone voting in chats, let me know. I'm curious.
Over
See
4
who's
million
voting.
people have voted.
I should have asked earlier.
People are in the process of voting right now. And so Joe has been very clear, as the American people are. Let the American people fill that seat in the White House, and then we'll fill that seat on the United States Supreme Court. And to your point, Susan, the issues before us couldn't be more serious. There's the issue of choice, and I will always fight for a woman's right to make a decision about her own body. It should be her decision and not that of Donald Trump and the Vice President, Michael Pence. But let's also look at what else is before the court. It's the Affordable Care Act. Like, literally in the midst of a public health pandemic, when over 210,000 people have died and 7 million people probably have what will be in the future considered a pre-existing condition because you contracted the virus. Donald Trump is in court right now trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. And I said it before, and it bears repeating. This means that there will be no more protections if they win for people with pre-existing conditions. This means that over 20 million people will lose your coverage. It means that if you're under the age of 26, you can't stay on your parents' coverage anymore. And here's the thing. The contrast couldn't be more clear. They're trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. Joe Biden is saying, let's expand coverage. Let's private coverage. Let's bring down premiums.
Thank you, Senator
Let's
Harris.
lower Medicare eligibility to 60.
Thank you, Senator.
That's true leadership.
You mentioned earlier, Vice President Pence, that the president was committed to maintaining protections.
I want it to be a APA
But you do have this court case in court
OBGYN.
supporting your administration,
But you have to
supporting that would strike
so
down
many
the
abortions
Affordable Care
to
Act.
get
The
your
president
licensing.
says, President
That's
Trump
another
says that he's going to
thing,
protect
so
people
to-
with pre-existing conditions, but
Okay.
he has not explained how he would do that.
Don't know
and
what
that was
that-
one of the toughest nuts to crack when they were passing the Affordable
That
Care
is,
Act.
but
So tell
that's
us
good.
specifically, how would your administration protect Americans with pre-existing conditions have access to affordable insurance if the Affordable Care Act is
Well, thank you, Susan. But let me just say, addressing your very first question,
I just work at a gun shop. It's no point in going to college these days. You don't have to go to college to get a good job. I'm doing my gun thing.
And this is another one of those cases where there's such a dramatic contrast. Joe Biden
Okay,
and Kamala Harris support
that's good.
taxpayer funding of
That's what's
abortion
up.
all the way up to the moment of birth. Late-term abortion. They want to increase funding to Planned Parenthood.
They need to get rid of
America.
Planned
For our
Parenthood.
part, I would never presume how Judge Amy Coney Barrett would rule on the Supreme Court of the United States, but we'll continue to stand strong for the right to life. When you speak about the Supreme Court, though, I think the American people
Oh yeah,
really
college
deserve
does
an answer,
help.
Senator Harris.
Degrees and whatnot.
Are you
If
and
you
Joe
got a
Biden going to pack
degree,
the court?
you're more likely
Judge
to
Amy
get that
Coney Barrett
job
has confirmed. I mean, there have
by,
been 29
by
vacancies
someone that
on
already
the
has
Supreme
a
Court
high
during
school
presidential
diploma.
election years, from George Washington to Barack
It
Obama.
depends.
Presidents have nominated in all 29 cases. But your party is actually openly advocating adding seats to the Supreme Court, which has had 9 seats for 150 years, if you don't get your way. This is a classic case of if you can't win by the rules, you're going to change the rules. Now, you've refused to answer the question. Joe Biden has refused to answer the question. So I think the American people would really like to know, if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed with the Supreme Court of the United States, are you and Joe Biden, if somehow you win this election, going to pack the Supreme Court to get your way?
I'm so glad we went through a little history lesson. Let's do that a little more. In 1864.
Well, I'd like you to answer the question.
Mr. Vice President,
She's not
I'm
gonna answer the
speaking.
question.
I'm speaking.
She's
In
trying to change shit up.
1864,
She would
one
smile.
of the, I think, political heroes, certainly the president, I assume if you also, Mr. Vice President, is Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was up for re-election. And it was 27 days before the election. And a seat became open on the United States Supreme Court. Abraham Lincoln's party was
Yeah,
in charge, not only of
my
the White House,
sister
but the
works in
Senate.
healthcare. I was gonna
But
go to
honest
college, to be a nurse,
said
because my
not
ex-girlfriend,
the
she's
right
a
thing to do.
nurse and
The
everything.
American people
I was gonna
deserve
work
to
with
make
her.
a
We was gonna go to
decision
school together
about
and
who will be the
everything,
next
but
president of the United
shit
States.
happened in high school,
And
and
then that person
here I am with
can
guns,
select
and
who will
she's a
serve
nurse.
for a lifetime
I
on
think
the
she
highest
caught
court
COVID and
of
everything,
our
but she's
land.
fine.
And
Last
so
time I
Joe
talked to
and I
her,
are very clear.
I
The
think.
American people are voting right now, and it should be their decision about who will serve on this most important body for a lifetime.
Thank you,
And
Senator Harris.
People, Susan, are voting right now. They'd like to know if you and Joe Biden are going to pack the Supreme Court if you don't get your way in this nomination.
Let's talk about packing.
You once
Come on,
again gave a non-answer. Joe Biden gave a
I'm
non-answer.
trying to answer you
The
now.
American people deserve a straight answer. And if you haven't figured it out yet, the straight answer is they are going to pack
Yeah,
the
it's like
Supreme
what,
Court if they somehow win
point
this election.
007%
I gotta tell
chance
you,
of you
people across
dying
this
if you're
country, if you cherish our
uh
Supreme Court, if you cherish
in the age
separation of
range,
powers,
but the
if
older you get,
reject
the higher the
Biden-Harris
percentage
ticket,
gets.
come November the 3rd, re-elect President Donald Trump, and we'll stand by that separation of powers in a 9-seat Supreme Court.
Yeah, let's talk about packing the court then. Let's talk about the
Please.
fact. Yeah, I'm about to.
She's a smart ass.
So
Damn.
the Trump-Pence administration has been, because I
Well,
sit
they
on
both
the Senate Judiciary
kind of
Committee,
are.
as you mentioned, and I've witnessed the
Jesus.
appointments for lifetime appointments to the federal courts, district courts, courts of appeal. People who are purely ideological, people who have been reviewed by legal professional organizations and found to have been not competent, are substandard. And do you know that of the 50 people who President Trump appointed to the Court of Appeals for lifetime appointments, not one is black? This is what they've been doing. You want to talk about packing a court? Let's have that discussion.
All right, thank you, Senator. Let's go on
But
and
he's
talk
trying to
about
get a
the
woman
issue of
in,
racial
though.
justice.
I just want the record to reflect she never answered the question. But
Thank
maybe
you.
the next debate, Joe Biden will answer the question.
Thank you,
But I think
thank
the
you.
American people know the answer.
Thank you, Vice President. In March, Breonna Taylor, a 26-year-old emergency room
Uh-oh.
technician in Louisville, was shot and killed
This is a good
after
one.
police officers executing a search warrant in
Let
the
me shut up
narcotics
on this.
investigation broke into her apartment. The police said they identified themselves. Taylor's boyfriend said he didn't hear them do that.
Mm-hmm.
He used a gun registered to him to fire a shot, which wounded an officer. The officers then fired more than 20 rounds into the apartment. They say they were acting in self-defense. None of them have been indicted in connection with her death. Senator Harris, in the case of Breonna Taylor, was justice done? You have 2 minutes.
I don't believe so, and I've talked with Brianna's mother, Tamika
I
Palmer.
personally agree with
and her
her in
family.
this.
And
To be
her
honest
family
with you
deserves
guys.
justice. She was a beautiful young woman. She had as her life goal to become a
Don't
nurse.
say
She
all
wanted
that,
to
though.
become an EMT to first learn what's going on out on the street, so she could then become a nurse and save lives. And her life was taken unjustifiably and tragically and violently. And it brings me to, you know, the 8 minutes and 46 seconds that America witnessed, during which an American man was tortured and killed under the knee of an armed,
Oh, just FYI, guys.
uniformed police
That
officer.
cop that killed him is out on bail. It is a
And people
$1 million
around our
bail,
country
and he's out.
of every race,
More likely, he's hiding
every
into
age,
the
of every
trial.
gender, perfect strangers to each other, marched shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, she was
arm in
mixing herself up with the wrong dudes.
Fighting.
Yeah, I do
For
agree,
us to
100%,
finally
Ender.
achieve that ideal of equal justice under law. And I was a part of those
Back in the
peaceful
day,
protests.
when I was younger, I was mixing myself up with the
I
wrong
believe
people,
strongly
and I got
that
caught in
first
some
of all,
trouble
we are
as
never
well.
going to condone violence, but we
And I
always
changed that.
must fight for the values that we hold dear.
But yeah, justice
including
is
the
not
fight
served
to
for
achieve
her.
our ideal. And that's why Joe Biden and I have said on this subject. Look, and I'm a former
Yeah,
career
it's already
prosecutor.
problems
I know what
on
I'm
the
talking
streets
about.
right now.
Bad cops are bad for good cops.
Just,
We need reform.
you know, stay
of
aware
our
of your
policing in
surroundings.
America and our criminal justice
Strap
system, which
up.
is why Joe and I will
Get a
immediately
CHL,
ban
TCW
bulls and
if you
karate
can.
bulls. George
Carry
Floyd
every
would be alive
day.
today if we did that.
Make sure you have
We
some
will
pepper spray with
require
you
a
too.
national registry
And just try
for
your best
police
to stay
officers who
safe.
break the law. We will, on the issue of criminal justice reform, get rid of private prisons and cash bail, and we will decriminalize
What's up with
marijuana.
these private prisons?
And we will,
I swear they said that they
expunge the
want to
records
let
of
out a
those who
bunch of
have been
prisoners.
convicted of marijuana.
I swear
If we
Biden
can
said
find
some
for
stuff like
leadership
that.
on a tragic,
Kamala,
tragic
you
issue
put in
that honor our
thousands
black
of
people in America.
black
Thank you,
men
Senator Harris.
in prison
Vice President Pence,
for
let me pose
weed,
the same question
and you
to
smoke weed yourself,
In the
Harris.
case of
Come
Breonna
on.
Taylor, was
I got my
justice done?
CCW back
You
in
have 2 minutes
2011. Obama opened
uninterrupted.
my eyes. Oh, wow. Nice.
Well, our heart
I just got
breaks.
mine last year. I'm younger, so
Any
I'm
innocent
catching up.
family of Breonna Taylor has our sympathies. But I trust our justice system. A grand jury that refused the evidence.
I've gotten at least
And it really is
25
remarkable that as
people,
a former
including
prosecutor,
family, you know,
you would
like
assume that in a
relatives and
panel
everything,
grand jury looking at
into
all the
guns, buying a
evidence got it
gun.
wrong.
I think
But
2 of them got a CCW, which is good. So I'm doing my part, trying my best to get
with
people
regard
to, you know,
George Floyd,
defend
there's no
themselves,
excuse for what
because
happened
only
to
you
George
can
Floyd.
defend yourself.
Justice
No
will
one
be
else.
served. But there's also no
So
excuse
I wish I was
for
young as well. I'm
rioting
46
and looting.
now. Yeah, well, I'll be there in 26
It
years.
really is astonishing. Flora
Somewhere around
Westbrook is
there.
with us here tonight in Salt Lake City.
Wait, no, hold on, wait, no. Wait, 20
Just a few
years.
weeks
I'm
ago,
sorry.
I
20.
stood at what used to be
Yeah, 20.
her salon.
Yeah.
Was burned to the ground by rioters and looters. And Flora is still trying to put her life back together.
This
And I
whole
must tell you,
country
this-
is just in
this
a
presumption
shithole right now. Shit
that you
face.
hear
Shit
consistently,
fest.
from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, that America is systemically racist. And that, as Joe Biden said, that he believes that law enforcement has an implicit
Spent some time
bias
out in
against
Alaska.
minorities.
Ooh, Alaska working and
Is-
all.
is a great
I heard
insult
around me it was 30 and 50.
to the men and women who serve in law enforcement. And I want everyone to know who puts on the uniform of law enforcement every day. And President Trump and I stand with you. And it is remarkable that when Senator Tim Scott
What is
tried
that
to
on his
pass a
head?
police reform bill, brought
Does
together
he
a
got
group
something
of
on his
Republicans and
head?
Democrats, Senator Harris, you got up and walked out of the room. And then
Or
you
is that just
filibustered Senator
what's that?
Tim Scott's bill on the Senate floor that would have provided new accountability, new resources. But we don't
Do
have
y'all
to
see
choose
that?
between
Is that a
supporting law
bug on his
enforcement,
head right now?
improving public safety, and supporting our African American
Thank you,
neighbors
Vice
and all of our minorities. Under President Trump's leadership,
Thank you,
we
Vice
will
President.
always
Get
stand
that
with
bug
law
off your
enforcement.
head, Mike.
We
Come
will
on.
do what
Flick
we
it off
do
your
every
head.
one of
Thank
these
you.
Flick it off your
the
head.
lives of African Americans.
Dang it.
Thank you, Vice
Record
President Pence.
unemployment,
Get the bug off your head. It's
record
cringy.
education,
Ugh.
fight for school choice for all of our
Thank
members.
you,
I'd like to respond.
Senator Harris.
It's so
I will
cringy
not
just
say
looking at it.
what
Like,
lectures
you
by the
pay
Vice
attention to the
President
bug.
on what it means to enforce the laws of our
Bug's
country.
like,
I'm the
I
only one
want to
on
come
this
talk
stage
next.
who has personally prosecuted
Oh my gosh.
everything from child sexual assault to homicide. I'm the only one on this stage who prosecuted banks taking advantage of America's homeowners. I'm the only one
I'm
on
pretty
this
sure she
stage
got some bugs in her too.
prosecuted for-profit colleges for taking advantage
You
of our
said it's a
veterans.
roach? What? Hold up.
And the reality of this is that
I'm
we are
gonna look.
talking about an election in 27 days, where last week the President of the United States took a debate stage in front of 70 million Americans and refused to condemn white supremacists.
Not true.
And
Not true.
it wasn't like he didn't have a chance. He didn't do it, and then he doubled down. And then he said, when pressed, stand back, stand by. And this is a part of a pattern of Donald Trump's. He called Mexicans rapists and criminals.
I bet her earrings
He
are bugged.
instituted as a terrorist act a Muslim ban. On the issue of Charlottesville, where people were peacefully protesting the need for racial justice, where a young woman
So
was
Amber, are you
killed.
new to my
And on the
channel,
other
or
side, there
how
were
long have you been
neo-Nazis carrying tiki torches, shouting
subscribed
racial epithets,
to Guns, Games, and Gadgets?
anti-Semitic slurs. And Donald Trump, when asked about it, said there were fine people on both sides. This is who we have as the President of the United States. In America, you deserve
Oh
better.
God, here
Joe
we go.
Biden will be a president who brings
Oh,
our country
4 or 5 months
together
ago. Okay, okay.
and recognizes the beauty in our
Well,
diversity.
welcome.
and the fact
This is
that
my
we all
first
have
time
so much more
talking
in
to you.
common than what
That's why I'm gonna
separates
make a
us.
Discord.
President,
I don't know
let me
when
give
I'm gonna
you
make
a minute
one, but I'm
to
definitely gonna make
Thank
one
you, Susan.
before I can
appreciate that very
interact
much.
with you guys. Get to
I
know
think this is
some
one
of
of
you.
the things that makes people dislike the media so much in this country, Susan, is that you selectively edit, just like Senator Harris did, comments that President Trump and I and
Yeah.
others on
It's
the
not too
side
many
of the
people
debate.
like me that can shoot guns.
Senator Harris
People be
conveniently
shocked,
omitted
like,
that after the
wow,
president
he
made
can shoot
comments about
guns
people
that good?
on either
Like,
side
yeah,
of
it's
the
not
debate
that
over
hard.
monuments.
The bug is
He
gone. Oh,
condemned
yeah, it's gone.
KKK,
Oh, so it was
neo-Nazis,
like
and white supremacists, and has done
a fly or
so
something. Big ass
repeatedly.
fly on his head or something.
You're concerned that he doesn't condemn neo-Nazis. President Trump has Jewish grandchildren. His daughter and son-in-law are Jewish. This is a president who respects and cherishes all of the
Oh,
American
flipped
people.
it off.
You talk about having personally prosecuted. I'm glad you brought up your records, Senator.
Thank you.
But I really need to make this point. When you were DA in San Francisco, when you left office, African Americans were 19 times more likely to be prosecuted for minor drug offenses than whites and Hispanics. When you were Attorney General of California,
Thank you,
you
Vice President.
increased the disproportionate incarceration of
Thank you.
blacks in California. You did
Uh
nothing on
oh,
criminal
he's spilling the
justice
beans
reform
on
in
her now.
California.
She's
You
like,
didn't
oh
have the
fuck,
finger to
I'm
pass the
fucked.
First Step Act
She's
on
like, I'm
Capitol
screwed.
Hill. I mean, the
He's
reality
spilling the
is
beans
your
on her.
records
He's
speak for
good.
themselves. President Trump and I have fought
He is
for
good.
criminal justice reform.
Thank you, Vice
I'm
President.
sorry
for
to you, but
education,
he's
choice,
done
and
a
opportunity
way
for
better
African
job than
Americans
Trump
all over.
has.
Thank you, sir.
He's
It will be
good.
reformed.
Thank you.
Mike Pence
you know,
is
there
very
is
good.
no more important issue than the final issue that we're going to talk
Guns,
about tonight.
guns.
And that is the issue of the election
Fuck.
itself.
Damn.
He attacked my
Damn
record.
it.
I would like an opportunity.
Let me give
I
you
just
30
want to
seconds
hear her.
because
Hell yeah,
because
we're gonna
running
take
out
your
of time.
ARs, your AKs, your Glocks, just to
First of all,
piss off everyone.
having served as the Attorney General of the state of California, the work that I did is a model of what our nation needs to do.
Dang it.
And we
They
will
ain't
be
talk
able
about
to do
guns.
under the Joe
Dang
Biden
it.
presidency. Our agenda includes what this administration has failed to do. It will be about not only instituting a ban on chokeholds and carotid holds.
Thank you.
Not only,
Thank you, Senator.
I would like to go through.
These are points that you made earlier in the hour, and I want to talk about the election itself.
All right, 30 minutes
But I
left.
want to
Come
talk
on, wrap
about
it up.
the connection
Everyone, wrap it
between what
up.
Joe and I will do and my record, which includes I was the first statewide officer to institute a requirement that my agents would wear body cameras and keep them on full time. We were the first to initiate a requirement that there would be a training for law enforcement on implicit bias because, yes, Joe Biden and I recognize that implicit bias does exist, Mr. Vice President, contrary to what you may believe. We did the work of instituting reforms that were about investing in reentry. This is the work that we have done and the work we will do going forward. And again, I will not be lectured by the Vice President on our record of what we have done in terms of law enforcement and keeping our communities safe and a commitment to reforming the criminal justice system of America.
Thank you, Senator Harris. And I'd like to I'd like you to respond first to the question on our final topic, the election itself.
Why didn't they bring up Tupac?
President Trump has several times refused to commit himself to a peaceful transfer of power after the election. If your ticket wins,
Very biased.
and President Trump
All
refuses
chains
to
of this
accept
government.
a peaceful transfer of power, what steps
Like I
would
said
you
in
advise President Biden
one of my
what would
videos, I
happen
feel like that we just need
next? You
a
have 2
clean
minutes.
slate, get rid of this corruption
So I'll
on
tell
both
you,
sides. Mainly,
Joe
I'm
and
sorry to
I
tell
are,
you,
I think, particularly
the left. I'm sorry,
proud of
but it's the
the
truth.
coalition that we've built around our campaign. We probably have one of the
They want
broadest
to turn this country
coalitions
into some
of votes
socialist
you've
type
ever
of
seen in a
bullcrap.
presidential race. Of
Take
course, we
up
have
Second Amendment
support of
right and
Democrats, but
everything.
also independents and Republicans. In fact,
Gun
7
control, which
members
doesn't
of,
work.
President George
Criminals
W.
will
Bush's
get guns
cabinet
no matter
are
what.
supporting our ticket. We have the support of
We got California.
Colin
We gotta wait
Powell,
10 days.
Cindy McCain, John Kasich,
I'll probably make a separate
over
video on this.
500 generals, retired generals, and former national security
Top
experts.
20 cities ran by what top
And I
20.
believe they are doing
Okay,
that
top
because they know
20
that
most
Joe
crime.
Biden
You know,
has a
the
deep,
cities with the
deep
most
seated
crime, the top
commitment
20 ones,
to fight for our
are ran by
democracy
Democrats,
and to fight for
and
the
they have the strict
integrity
gun
of
control
our
laws.
democracy and to bring
And you can't,
integrity back
you're
to
like,
the
it's
White
impossible
House.
to get a gun
And so we
in
believe
Chicago,
in the American people.
but
We
criminals
believe
can
in
go
our
get a gun and
democracy.
shoot up
And
everyone
here's what I'd like to say
easily.
to everybody. Vote. Please vote. Vote early.
Yeah,
Come
Chicago,
up with a plan to vote. Go to
Baltimore,
iwillvote.com.
LA,
You can also go to
I can go on and on.
JoeBiden.com.
Detroit,
We have it within
Cleveland.
our power in these next 27 days to make the decision about what will be the course of our country for the next 4 years. And it is
New York.
within our power, and if we use our vote and we use our voice, we will win. And we will not let anyone subvert our democracy with what Donald Trump has been doing, as he did on the debate stage last week, when again in front of 70 million people, he openly attempted to suppress the vote. Joe Biden, on the other hand, on that same debate stage, because clearly Donald Trump doesn't think he can run on a record because it's a failed record, Joe Biden on that stage said, hey, just please vote. So I'll repeat what Joe said. Please vote.
Thank you, Senator. Vice President Pence, President Trump has several times refused to commit himself to a
Whoops.
peaceful transfer of power after the election. If Vice President Biden is declared the winner and President Trump refuses to accept a peaceful transfer of power, what would be your role and responsibility as Vice President? What would you personally do? You have 2 minutes.
Well, Susan, first and foremost,
Oh,
we're gonna
you
win
talk
this
about
election.
Kamala Harris
Because while Joe
having
Biden
wrinkles in the
Kamala Harris
neck.
rattle off
Is she
a
like
lot of it,
50? Somewhere around
the
there?
establishment in Washington, D.C., an establishment that Joe Biden's been a part of for 47 years. President Donald Trump has launched a movement of everyday Americans from every walk of life. And I have every confidence that those same Americans that delivered that historic victory in 2016, they see this president's record where we rebuild our military. We revived our economy through tax cuts,
Yes,
rolling
yeah,
back
she,
regulation, fighting for
Kamala
fair
looks like
trade,
she's about
unleashing American
51,
potential. We appointed
something like
conservatives
that,
to our
early
full boards at
50s.
every level. And we stood
I'm
with
good
the
with
men and women of
age,
law enforcement every single day. And I think
especially
that
when it
movement
comes
of
to
Americans has
women.
only grown stronger in the last
I'll
few
see right through that damn
years.
makeup.
When you talk about accepting the outcome of the election, I must tell you, Senator, your party has spent the last 3.5 years trying to overturn the results of the last election. It's amazing. When Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, the FBI actually spied on President Trump and my campaign. I mean, there were documents released this week that the CIA actually made a referral to the FBI documenting that those allegations were coming from the Hillary Clinton campaign. And of course, we've all seen the avalanche, what you put the country through for the better part of 3 years until it was found that there was no obstruction, no collusion, case closed. And then Senator Harris, you and your colleagues in the Congress
Oops.
tried to impeach the President of the United States over a phone call. And now Hillary Clinton has actually said to Joe Biden that in her words, under no circumstances should he concede the election. So let me just say, I think we're going to win this election. President Trump and I are fighting every day in courthouses to prevent
The spying.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris from changing the rules and creating this universal mail-in voting that will create a massive.
I'm not voting by mail. I'm taking my ass
free and fair election.
to the place where they told me to go on the 3rd. I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna vote. I'm not doing it by mail. I'm just not gonna do
I've
that.
written all
Nope.
the questions that I've asked tonight, but for the final question of the debate,
Guns.
I'd like to
Talk about guns.
read a question that someone else wrote.
God.
The
Oh my
Utah
goodness.
Debate Commission
Oh,
asked
she's
students
55.
in the
Okay.
state
That's close.
to write essays about what they would like to ask you. And I want to close tonight's debate with the question posed by Brecklin Brown. She's an 8th grader at Springville Junior High in
She looks the
Springville,
age.
Utah. And here's what she wrote. Quote, when I watch the news, all I see is arguing between Democrats and Republicans. When I watch the news, all is trying to tear each other down. If our leaders can't get along, how are the citizens
How about
supposed to get
no?
along?
This
And
is my
then she added,
channel. I can
your
speak whenever I want to.
examples could make
Like I
all the
said
difference
earlier,
to bring us
it would be
together.
commentary.
End quote. So each and every
Commentary.
turn, I'd like you to take 1 minute.
So if you don't
and
like it, you can go
respond
watch
to Brecklin.
Fox
Vice
News.
President
That's what I'm streaming this from.
Brecklin, that's a wonderful question.
They ain't talking about nothing important.
Let me just commend you for taking an interest in public life. I started following.
That's why they talk about nonsense. And you trying to hear this nonsense? Bruh, they ain't talking about nothing important that you need to listen to. Bruh, come on.
We celebrate that. It's how we
Come on with
created
that.
literally the freest and most prosperous nation in the history of the world.
Come on with that, dude.
I would tell you that don't assume that what you're seeing on your local news networks is synonymous with the American people. You know, I look at the relationship between Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the late justice who we just lost from the Supreme Court, and the late Justice Antonin Scalia. They were on polar opposites on the Supreme Court of the United States. One very liberal, one very conservative. But what's been learned since her passing was the two of them and their families were the very closest of friends. I mean, here in America, we can disagree. We can debate vigorously, as Senator Harris and I have on this stage tonight. But when the debate is over, we come together as Americans. That's what people do in big cities. And
So
small
how you
towns
guys
all
feel
over
about
society.
this
So I just
whole
want to encourage
debate?
Brecklin. I want to tell you that
It's just nonsense.
we're going to work every day to have government as good as our people. The American people each and every day.
They say stuff.
Love a good debate. We love a good argument. But we always come together and are always there for one another.
Thank you.
In times of need. And we've especially learned that
Thank you,
through
Mr.
the
Vice President.
difficulties of this year.
Senator Harris, what would you say to Brecklin?
First of all, I love hearing from our young leaders. And when I hear her words, when I hear your words, Brecklin, I know our future is bright because it is that perspective.
Oh
on who
yeah,
we
I'm
are
not the only channel that's doing this
that is a sign of
and talking as
leadership and is
well.
something we should all aspire to.
Stephen Crowder probably
And that,
talking
you
every
know,
2
that brings me to
seconds.
Joe Biden. One of the reasons that Joe decided to run for president is after Charlottesville, which we talked about earlier. It so troubled him and upset him, like it did all of us, that there was that kind of hate and division. What propelled Joe to run for president was to see that over the course of the last 4 years, what Brecklin described has been happening. Joe has a long-standing reputation of working across the aisle and working in a bipartisan way. And that's what he's going to do as president. Joe Biden has a history of lifting people up and fighting for their dignity. You mean you have to know Joe's story to know that Joe has known pain, he has known suffering,
yeah, like the crime bill.
and he has
Yep.
known love. And so, Brecklin, when you think about the future, I do believe the future is bright. And it will be because of your leadership, and it will be because we fight for each person's voice through their vote, and we get engaged in this election because you have the ability through your work and through eventually your vote
Thank you,
to
Senator
determine
Harris.
the future of our country and what its leadership looks
Yeah,
like.
y'all get in. It's gonna be
Thank you,
socialist. I'm
Senator
sorry.
Harris. Thank you, Vice President Pence. Thank
They're
you so
gonna
much for
ban
being
every
with us
damn
tonight.
thing.
I want to thank also the University of Utah for its hospitality And most of all, our thanks to all the
All right.
Americans.
Well,
who
looks like
watched
this is about to
this
wrap up,
debate
guys.
tonight. Again, our best wishes for a quick recovery to President Trump, the First Lady, and everyone who is battling COVID-19. The second presidential debate is next week on October 15th.
Uh-oh,
the
second
town hall
one.
style debate in Miami. We hope you'll join us then. Good evening.
Yep, they can debate all they want, but it's all about acting, not talking. That's what a bunch of people nowadays do. Talk, talk, and talk. It's all about act. All right, guys. Well, I guess that's the wrap up there with that. So, man, I don't, like, do like half of it. I just stopped paying attention. It's just a bunch of talking and talking, but there's no acting. But I'll probably do another video on, my opinion on all this and what's going to happen, and also about the next debate. So, thank you guys for tuning in. Smack that like button. Stay tuned for more videos. I hope you guys stay safe. Be aware of your surroundings. Definitely be aware of your surroundings, because this shit's about to go down, guys. Shit is about to go down. And that shotgun, yeah. Speaking of my new shotgun, I will be doing a range day video pretty soon. I don't know when, but COVID's slowing down everything. But yeah, be aware of surroundings. Get a gun. Trump 2020. Yep, I'm definitely voting for him. My whole family knows that, and they were pissed off about it. I'm in the great Buckeye State. Ohio. Ohio. You in Phoenix? Oh, lucky. Damn. That's a good state for gun owners. Shit. It's hot, though. It's very hot down there. So, and I'm not used to the heat. I hate the heat. So, yeah, guys. This, like, this country, like, it's not looking good. Iowa. Yeah. All right, Christopher. You definitely, carry a gun if you can. Be aware of your surroundings. Iowa. What state do you live in? Iowa's it's okay on guns, Who, me or Christopher? Okay, you in Phoenix. Okay, Amber. Yep. I'm in Ohio. Ohio is an average, state, I guess, if you want to say it like that. But yeah, stay tuned, everyone. I might be going live again with some gaming stuff, but I don't know how many of you guys watch gaming content, but I might be doing some gaming later on. So, and I will be talking about the debate as well. So if you want to come back, we can have a discussion on that. Then yeah, feel free. Feel free. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna end this right here, and stay tuned for more videos. So stay safe, everyone. How you end this? Oh, god damn it. Oh, sorry. How the hell you end this? Oh, here we go. Good night, everyone.